We were just talking about going into the trending topics. Let's see what the heartbeat of America is today. This should be interesting. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
pull
I'm
up some.
curious.
Yeah, go pull up some Google Trends here. Let me share my
I feel
screen.
like this will be good for me because I basically feel like I live under a rock in
Same.
a bubble. So this will like help me keep some sort of a pulse on what actually goes on in the real world, which I can
Yeah,
handle that maybe once a week.
just one. Yeah, I have
Once a
to.
week.
Usually this is as far as I go for like marketing purposes because I know the stuff
Mm-hmm.
that I'm looking to target is not going to be marketing, not going to be trending rather. So then I'll scroll down here. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So oh, look at this trending number one, planets
Planets
aligned.
align.
What? So let's dive into that subject right
Yeah,
there.
let's
Okay,
do that because I actually saw a small article about this from Martha Stewart, by the way, because there
really?
is nothing this woman doesn't do or talk about.
Wow,
Yeah, and I sent it to Mike and he goes, "Oh, we're gonna have to get up really early to see this." And I was like, "That's okay."
wow.
Um, yeah, so there's like I think yeah, five different planets are lining up and you can literally see them with your just regular eye in the night sky, which I think is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Seeing five is rare. Planets are
Five
lining up
points.
in natural order from the sun.
Mm.
Oh, shit is
First time.
happening.
Things are freaking happening. This is the first
Mhm.
time since December 2004, apparently. What were
Interesting.
you doing December 2004?
2004, December, I would have been a junior in high school.
Oh,
Yeah, I was a junior in high school.
I was lost at sea.
So I
It's
was probably partying and actually, yeah, my that end of my junior year wasn't too bad. It was my senior year. It got pretty wild.
it got pretty wild.
Yeah, barely. Yeah, that's when I
Yeah,
didn't go to school and did a lot of questionable things.
same. I'm always curious as at the stuff that's trending in like JD Davison. Who is this
Who
person?
is that? I
Let's
don't
see
even
who
know who
this
that
is.
is.
Oh, it's a basketball
Basketball?
player.
No,
Nine
that's why I
things you
don't
need to
know.
know about JD Davison. Yeah,
He has really
sports.
nice hair.
He's got some good hair.
Very
He's got more.
young, very nice hair.
Got more than I have. Let me hold some of that hair, JD Davison.
Right?
So this is the
So
stuff I
luxurious.
never look at. Like I do not look at sports ever,
Mm-mm.
but it's trending today. I'm always curious because as like a marketer, if I wanted to run some ads, I could literally target JD's name
Mm-hmm.
and get a crap ton of people looking at whatever I got to sell. So that's always an interesting thing. Who else we got? Who else do you see on? What else do you see on here that's
I
like
feel
standing out?
like nothing on here
Mm-mm,
interests me what's other than the planets aligning.
nothing.
I am completely disinterested in all of this, or I have no idea who any of these people are. So that's how
I,
much I live under a rock. Brad Pitt is
there he
trending
is.
again
Yeah,
today. Twitter is
he.
not a fan of Brad Pitt's GQ cover.
Let's see
What's it
what's
look
going on with
like?
his cover.
What's he? Well, he looks dead. Maybe that's why. Doesn't he look like almost like dead?
Wow,
Is that the point?
I don't know.
Opens up his dream world. I think he looks like he's like laying in a coffin almost. Interesting.
Or on some kind of psychedelics.
Yeah. Oh, it does say his dream world.
Yeah, what is this about?
Mission
Social
cover
media
photo
reactions. Yeah,
of that of a corpse.
he's like
That's
he's
how I
probably.
felt.
This is the interesting thing right here. Like people like this who take it upon themselves to like comment on it. I'm curious
That's what
as
I
to
think
like,
is so weird. I mean, that's what we're
yeah,
doing right now, but we're doing it on like
we're
who
yeah
takes
we're
their time to like
get bothered by it.
that's but I mean that's what I think on like my TikTok when people like leave comments that are just like rude or they like go out of their way. Like I started doing the Gary V approach to this where I had
Mm.
somebody that was like, I showed this like one video, and it's like me just like scanning my office because I have a Feng Shui crystal in the window behind me. So in the morning, there's like little rainbows all over the room. So the
Mm.
video was literally just showing, like, oh, look how pretty, you know? And one person was like, because you could see a little bit of the back of my computer, and they were like, your computer is in the wrong place. Like, that's so ugly, and da 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 da. And so
What?
then I made
What?
a video response to them being like, I am so sorry that you feel that way. I just want to say that I hope you have a great day, because obviously things are not going well in your life, because the first thing you noticed about this beautiful video showing rainbows was how ugly my computer was. So I hope that you choose to look at the positive side of life today instead of the
I love
negative.
that you said that.
I'm going to just start, because I think I don't get a ton of negative feedback, but I know as things keep growing, like, that's
You will,
inevitable.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to happen, right? So I'm like, okay, I need to, because it will hurt my feelings if I let it. So I'm like, okay, how can I take that energy from somebody else and kind of like neutralize it, and literally try my hardest and best
Yeah.
to direct it in some sort of positive way, because we know that when people react negatively, it's because of something that's going on with them. It's not us,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's, one of those basic rules. Don't take things personally. It's really the other person. But I mean, that's so hard to do. So I'm like, okay, if I can like get myself in that mindset now of being more mindful of like how to address things like that, I think in the long run that will be healthier for me, but we'll see.
I think so too. I think that's the way I usually approach things 95% of the time. But then
Yeah.
there's this 5%. Like the other day, I literally told a dude to shut the hell up. I was like this. I did a video about I was like, the only two people talk about skin color all the time is people that, I just made the scenario about these two type of people that are constantly talking about skin color or whatever, and how I don't
Mhm.
associate with any of those. And then this guy was like, um, he was like, "You're just talking crap. How many white people did you have at your last party?" And I was like, first of all, I don't party.
Yeah. No
Second of
way.
all, 75 to 80% of my friends don't even have my complexion. And
Mhm.
then I said, third of all, shut the fiznuck up. And he responded back. He said, you have anger issues. And I just
Do
blocked
I
him.
though?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
Do
don't. Like,
I?
yeah, exactly. Like, I'm responding, I'm playing at your level of dumb I'm allowing myself to be just as dumb as you, but I'm really being sarcastic right now.
Yeah.
And but I have to realize that there is a level of, like, when I was a kid, when you and I were kids, it was okay to say that somebody was smart and that somebody else was not smart.
Mhm.
And we love to live in a society where we try to treat everybody equal and think that everyone, like, we give people a pass. There are dumbasses out here. Like, there are some people that are just dumb.
That don't use their brains.
There you go.
They are
Better way to put it.
lazy. They are lazy
Yeah.
because they choose not to use their brains.
There you
And
go.
that results in a lot of ignorance.
Yes.
And oh, I actually so I'm back on my Outwitting the Devil kick.
Same. I just literally,
Really?
yeah, I picked it up this morning and took it to the coffee shop with me.
So I marked a couple pages that I was like, oh man, we need to like talk about this.
Mm.
Um, and I wish I could remember exactly what those things were
That is one of the
off the
most
top of my head,
amazing,
but
that's one of the most amazing books ever.
dude, it's literally the best. And it's so funny because it's like I always pick it up because, like, we've talked before, I'm always reading like 3, 4, 5 books at one time, depending on, and they're all
Yeah.
different. So
Yeah.
it's like, what am I interested in? And I read little sections at a time. And like, I just picked it up the other night, and it's so funny that when I allow myself to read like that, instead of like forcing myself to, I have to start one book and finish it,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like I always read what I need to read at the time. Like I'm open to that information, and it's like always exactly like I'm so much more connected with it when I allow myself to read like that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, as soon as I picked it up the other night, I was like, mind blowing. Yes, yes. Whereas if I would have forced myself to keep reading it when I put it down a few weeks ago, I don't think I would have felt that way.
Yeah. Same. I'm
Mhm.
just like that. Just like that. That's so weird. I used to judge myself a lot for being that way. Like, why
Me
can't I
too.
sit here and read this book from beginning to end? But like you said, I've allowed myself to enjoy it more by just allowing myself to naturally be called to pick up that one book.
Mhm.
And what do you think? Where do you like? Let's dive into that. Like, where do you think um the sort like this book, especially, and I'm specifically commenting on the unedited version, the
Yes.
what is it? The unedited
I
version
think
of
it
it.
is the unedited version. I could go
Yeah.
grab my copy, but I
So I'm
won't get it.
specifically speaking about that one. Like, where do you? This book is so freaking on fire. Where do you think that material originated from? Like, did he actually have a conversation with the devil? Because I don't understand.
I
I don't.
think no, because I don't think the devil is actually, and I feel like he almost says this in the book without saying it.
Mm,
The devil is just the opposite of positive, right? It's the negative of everything. Just like
okay.
God is the positive of everything, they don't have the same power that we actually have. We are the most powerful ones,
Mm,
right? Because they have to adhere to all the laws of nature. I think he's channeling that energy and describing the energy that he is channeling. Like I would
mm,
almost think that like if I could go back and pretend to be him as he's writing this book, that he's channeling the energy of what we call the devil or the negative, what is that, is the negative ion
yeah, the
of the
negative
atom,
ion.
right?
Yeah,
Basically is what the devil says he is. He's the negative of everything.
yeah,
Just like there has to be the positive, there is no one without the other. And the way that we see God and the devil is completely false and silly because we've just given them these like human like attributes and stuff that literally does not exist.
yeah.
And so to me, if because I've thought about this a lot, I think he's channeling that the energy of that and describing it in a human context.
I love the way you just described that because he did say that. He did say that I am the negative energy
And that's
of.
it.
That's it. So from there, but the detail of the devil's response
Mm.
to those questions just it caused me to like question like the source because flip flopping between Napoleon Hill, like let's say he was entertaining channeling the negative energy. For him to be able to flip flop between him asking a question to him getting an answer and document that process, that was very interesting. Like
Yeah.
very interesting. And what do you think about that?
So I find that really interesting too, because I'm thinking at the time where he did this, he was probably what writing this all out as it was happening or typing it all out, right?
Probably, yeah.
I don't believe he would have been recording it.
I don't think so either.
So that's what I think too, is like he's just, to me, it's like I visualize it in my head, like he's just in trance, like like just going
Yeah.
wild, and then probably reading it later. But I definitely think there are certain things, um, and without it right in front of me, I can't give you specific examples, but there has been certain sentences, certain leanings towards that, like, tell me that he is describing an energy in his own word slash human form, because there's even certain things that like are in keeping with the time period it was written in, even
Mm-hmm.
ideals that are kind of keeping with that in certain ways that tell me that it's not fully like
You,
this thing is necessarily talking to him. And that's where I think it's more like he's almost like getting like this download of information and then he's describing it the only way that he can as a human. But it's not
whoa.
from him.
I love the way you describe that. I love the way you describe that because I think like he described a lot of things like back then they didn't know that smoking cigarettes was bad. And for the devil to comment on that
Mhm.
does point to the possibility of Napoleon Hill actually just channeling that negative energy.
Yeah. Cause he
And
even is like, "What do you mean smoking's bad? Like,
yeah,
what? Like, everybody
yeah,
does it. It's totally
everybody
normal." And he's like,
exactly.
"Oh, well," but he's not, again, it's not related to health, it's related to drifting, right?
Exactly.
Which is such a
That
God, we could talk about that for 3
to my
days.
drifting.
Mhm.
So drifting is very like that right there, that part in the book when he starts really going in detail about what it looks like when you're drifting has really woken me up to the importance of waking up every single day with a purpose.
Mhm.
With a purpose. Even if I'm not some nights I go to bed under clearly understanding what my purpose is for the next day. And there are other nights where I go to bed and I don't know what my purpose is, but I give myself one anyway.
Mm.
And that excuse me, that has been the differentiator between me being stagnant and me continuing to evolve over, over the last 10 years. I first read Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. I think it was 2016, maybe
Okay.
whenever it came out. But that it's given me purpose. But now reading it this time around from a whole new perspective is just, and it really makes you mindful of like I won't tolerate anything that I don't want to do now that I don't feel like is a part of what I'm supposed to be doing while I'm here. Like if even if it's a birthday party
Mhm.
or a wedding
Mhm.
that I don't want to go to, that I'm not going to it, not out of obligation.
And that's so hard for other people to understand,
Yeah,
and you're like, "Just read the book. Just read the fucking book and you'll get it,"
yeah.
right?
Just
But
read it.
for should we describe what drifting is, for
Yes,
anybody that's listening
yes.
that has never read the book? And if you've never read Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, I would highly encourage that you get on Amazon right now and order it. I'm sure you'll include a link to it in the description of the podcast. I'll do the same when I upload
And
it to
only get the
Minecast.
unedited version of
Yes,
it.
the unedited version is like superior.
It
The
is.
audio book is great. That was my first version of it. Probably I think I started listening to it back in 2018, I believe. That was my first introduction to it. I will say that I enjoy the audio version because they do different voices.
Mhm.
So you've
Yeah.
got like the devil's voice and Napoleon Hill's voice, which makes it really dynamic and interesting. However, and I would maybe even encourage listening to it first
Yeah.
and then going in and reading that unedited version, because it's like you kind of have this baseline and
Yeah.
then the unedited version is so much deeper and there's so many other things that I think you're also able to expand on it in your brain
Yeah.
a little bit more. But either way, I mean, we literally, Robbie and I both consider this like our Bible. We think it's like the best book in the entire world. So,
It is.
um, he talks about many different things in this book, but two of the biggest things he mentions is the habit of drifting and the habit of definiteness of purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
those are basically the polar
Polar
opposites,
opposites.
right?
Yeah.
Drifting, devil, negative, definite of purpose, positive, God, universe, higher power, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so the idea of drifting is literally just the absence of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And when you read about this
Simply
in
put.
so
Simply put.
many different ways, it's like it just makes you so aware of all the little tiny places in your life that you are drifting. Like it could
Yes.
be going to that birthday party that you have no interest in going to because your purpose is to do something else. And it's
Yes.
hard to always be in definiteness of purpose because most people don't are like, God, like you only give a shit about yourself. But just in a page that I read last night, I think, where he talks about isn't only thinking of yourself considered selfish and da 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 da. And the devil's like, it's the only way to think.
It's the only, and
It's the only way to think. And
I've
I
always
just was
thought
like,
like that.
oh, it's so powerful.
I've always thought like that, but I've always been told something was wrong with the way that I thought.
Same.
And I was basically willing to say, to hell with what you think about what I think. Like, I'm going to live
Mm-hmm.
this way because I know it's true for me. And I've always had a problem with people who act like they couldn't live without you doing what they wanted you to do, whether it was go to a party or, you
Mm-hmm.
know, or anything, you know.
Anything.
And I'm like, that's not a part of my journey. That's not a part of, I don't find that important. And it's okay that I don't find that part important.
Mm-hmm.
We've been led to believe that we should honor other people more than we honor ourselves.
Yeah.
More than we honor ourselves, we've been led to believe that, oh, what you want is the most important thing for me. What? So drifting, when Napoleon Hill talked about that, I'm like, this is definitely my book because I am very I care about people tremendously, but I'm not willing to abandon what I believe to be important for what somebody else believes to be important. Because I feel like what I have inside of myself is meant for me to live. And if I don't live it, I'm allowing somebody else to rob me of that opportunity of living it.
Mm-hmm.
And so drifting is something that I've always stood against. But there was a time in my life where I drifted a lot.
Yeah.
And it often comes in the form of people pleasing.
I think that's where it comes from most, right? And that's where
Yeah.
I think too, and I know that this is something that we've maybe touched on very mildly, but I think like for Mike and I, we had to, and we got this from Tom Bilyeu and his wife, where it's like they're kind of always doing their own thing, but they have to, like when something is, I'm having Mike bring my book in too. Um, um, we have to tell each other when something's really important to us because when you're in a relationship, there does have to be some
Yes.
give and take and compromise, right? Even though I hate to admit that. Um,
Yeah, same.
but there has to be, right? So there are times where we have to be like, listen, like this is something that is actually really important to me. And whether you don't give a fuck about it or not, I need you to be there. I
Yeah.
need you to like show up for me, right? So I think
100%.
that's like the dog snuck in here and is like has been driving me crazy. So I'm trying to think. There was something that so I think that's something to be mindful about, right? Like and thinking about yourself and doing things for yourself also doesn't mean that you're an asshole.
No, it doesn't. No, not at
Like
all.
two totally different things.
Like
God,
I'm the
there's
king of like when my wife comes in and I talk about my wife all the time because she's the person I'm around most of the time. Like we're there together
mm-hmm.
all the time. So we have this interesting this really I think, well balanced relationship, because in one stance she does get me to care about things that I probably wouldn't care about if I was by myself.
Same.
Um but and it's so interesting because we always think that our stuff is interesting, right? like, like, screw your idea.
Guilty.
Let me talk about my idea. Like, let me tell you what I'm working on, right? So I've learned to, like you said, it is a compromise. And often when the word compromise, I used to break that down as compromise. Compromise me that
Ooh.
you'll do what I want you to do in this moment. And if you do what I want you to do, I'm happy with you. And if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm not happy with you. So
Mm-hmm.
I used to break that down like that. But now I think we've learned each other so much now that it doesn't even feel like a compromise. Like, we literally give each other the freedom to do whatever we want to do. Now, I will say this: if I feel like she's drifting, I will bring it up, and I'm like, "What? What is? What are you doing right now? Like, is that a part of, like, is that going to help you get ahead in life? That type of stuff." And she always
Yep.
reminds me, like, "Hey, it's okay for me to take a break and, like, do something that's not associated with going to another level in life."
Oh my
And for
God, it's
and,
so funny.
and for
The
me, I'm like,
similarities.
yeah, for me, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, the whole point of anything is to go to a whole nother level in life.
There's nothing else.
There's nothing
To
else.
me,
Like,
like there's nothing else. Like
exactly.
we have that same conversation too, where it's like he'll be like, it's okay for you to just like not be like, I gotta do more, and I'm
Yeah, I
like,
gotta.
what? And I think that's why too I talk about how I've struggled like sharing more of like my personal life in my
Yeah,
social, because like I hate to say I don't have a personal life. I do, but I
same.
also kind of don't. Like it's all mixed together.
That's
Like
the
I
coolest
am so
person in the
passionate
world.
about and love what I do, and I love working on myself, that like, like I like to do little random stuff, but it's not like I don't do anything that's like, wow, I can't believe Kate does that. That's so
Yeah,
wild. I'm like, no,
exactly.
that's really not me. I'm like, oh, I tried a new place for dinner and it was really good. I found a new grocery store. I love grocery stores. It's one of
Yeah.
my things.
Sometimes
Um,
when I'm in nature, I'm like, this is the probably the most thing that I would do that most people would find well, some people would find interesting. But even
mhm.
then, I'm like, okay, should I really take another video of this tree that I find interesting, or this leaf, or this insect, or this, like, I geek out of, I'm literally in nature, right? And I'm with my family. I'm like, I'll bring up my little camera here, and I'm like, hold up, guys, 1 second. Like, I have to get this shot. you know,
Mhm.
like, I'm like, hold up, let me get that shot. And that is as far as I go, um, in reference to doing something that's not related to me going to the next level in life.
But at the same time, that is part of it, right?
That's
Because I
part of
think
it.
you're like me, where it's like little stuff like that. It's like, wow, look at that caterpillar. It's so
Yeah.
cool. Do you see this tree? It's like a mother
Yeah.
tree. I just want to
Yeah.
touch it. Like, I'm like a child. I have let myself become like a child in that regard, where I get so fucking excited
Yeah.
about the most regular shit. And I notice details and I notice things in my surroundings at such a deeper level than most other
Yes.
people do. And I get
100%.
fucking pumped about it. Wow,
Hell
I
yeah.
just found a new bird. Like, this is
Yeah.
so exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I, but that's part of like, that keeps, to me, that keeps my life interesting. And for some people, it'd be like, wow, this chick is really
Out
like,
there.
that's what lights her up. Right. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, look at this fucking tree, man.
That's
It's
how I
amazing.
feel. That's how I feel. Like, I wanna, you know, like, if I, like, today I'm going to the Indian mounds, and I'm like, I wanna, like, insert my root chakra into this into this
Yes.
Indian mound and, like, connect with it. That's the stuff that I'm.
I can't
And
wait
even
to hear about that experience.
although that's not related to going to another level in business, it is related to going to another level in life. and evolving spiritually,
Yeah.
because
Which reflects in your business.
which reflects in your business.
100%.
At the Grant Cardone event the other day, he was like, "You need to spend X amount of hours a day working on yourself," and he was like, "And I don't mean meditation." And I was like, "Fuck you!" Like, meditation is one of the most powerful things you could do.
I
Not
agree.
f you directly, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, but no, you
Grant,
don't
you just
agree with
haven't
him. But
meditated. Yeah,
that's the but you don't have to agree with everything that he says. It would be
no,
silly for you to. Like we're all different.
exactly. Yeah,
Like that's the thing, like we have to remind ourselves that like even people that were like, "Oh my god, I'm basically like obsessed with this person and everything
yeah.
that they say." We have to be mindful. And I'm talking to myself when I say this.
I'm
We
talking to
have to
myself
be
too.
mindful of the fact that we still are listening to our inner voice and our intuition, because if something doesn't sit right with you, like that's totally fine.
One
You
hundred
don't have
percent.
to believe exactly. Actually, you shouldn't believe as everyone believes. Like you're an individual for a reason and you have a brain, you have a
Yes,
mind, which are two
yes,
different things for a reason. And,
yes.
I think part of what I do, I think this is like one of my favorite things to do when I work with clients. Like you wouldn't think that Feng Shui necessarily, you think about like moving shit around in your house, right? But one thing that I work with so many, especially women, so many women on is like trusting their intuition. Like I'm not there to
Mm,
tell you, because a lot of feng shui practitioners are like, this is the only way to fix, like this is bad, or
yeah,
this is the wrong thing, here's the right thing, end of
yeah.
story. My thing is like, oh well, how does this make you feel? Like I am constantly
Exactly.
pushing them to stop, like look at me for guidance, and I tell them this, but what I tell you is not end all be all. If I say something and you go, ooh, I don't like that, great,
Don't
what
do
do
it.
you like?
Yeah.
And that's one of the most I think important things about what I do, is pushing them to like figure out what they, I mean, because that's how it becomes this like lasting thing, and it
Mm,
becomes so beneficial for the practice in over your entire lifespan, is like your space is a direct reflection of you, not a direct reflection of me.
exactly.
But so many people don't trust their intuition. They just are like, "Oh, am I doing it right? Am I doing it
Don't you
wrong?"
find that
Like,
interesting that so many people don't trust their intuition? Like,
yeah.
when it comes very natural for you, to trust your intuition and to do what you feel. That water gulp was funny.
Wasn't that funny? It felt like I
It's
was like
like,
a little
what?
fish. Boop.
Yeah, I was thinking about the people. It's like we're out here fishing, people. For anybody that's listening on audio, we are literally out here. Speaking of fishing, I might have to change up my plans and go fishing today.
Mm.
But it's so interesting that we talk about this all the time. How people want to be told what to do.
Mhm.
Like they want you to tell them what to do, and that's always been interesting to me, that because I don't want nobody telling me what to do. and and it's just different strokes for different folks, I guess. But speaking on the subject of like drifting and
Oh
definiteness of
yeah.
purpose, like
I
how do
have a
you
passage I want to read in the book too after you
let's
ask your
hear it, let's
question.
hear it. Yeah.
Well, so I think this is like how we were talking about kind of being a little bit more selfish. So the question Napoleon Hill asks is, aren't people sometimes bound to others by a relationship of duty, which
Mm,
renders it impractical for them to take from life what they want most?
mm.
And the answer is, I fucking love this. Duty is one of the most abused and misunderstood words in existence. The first duty of every human being is to himself.
Yeah.
Every person owes himself
Everyone.
the duty of finding how to live a full and happy life. Beyond this, if one has time and energy not needed in the fulfillment of his own desires, one may assume responsibility for helping others. And then he
Absolutely.
asks, isn't that a selfish attitude? And isn't selfishness one of the causes of failure to find happiness? Answer, I stand by my statement that there is no higher duty than that which one owes himself.
100%.
Woo!
That is it. That's how I feel.
Same.
That's how I feel. I'm not willing to. I'm not. There's some things I'm not willing to compromise on. You know,
Hmm.
that's my number one duty to live in harmony with what
Me.
yeah, with me. I gotta live with me every day. And there's a balance of like projecting outward now, because like now I've become aware that I'm probably one of the most, without being very egotistical, one of the most self-centered people on the, we've also demonized that terminology, self-centered.
Yep.
Seems, and you can be too far, it's kind of like politics. You can be too far left, too far right. With this, I think it's the same way. You can be too focused on yourself to where you only give a damn about yourself, but you can also be to the point where you don't care about yourself at all and all you're trying to do is please other people.
Hmm.
So every single day, I have enough self-confidence and enough self-awareness. Now it's my job to like project outward. That's a deal I made with life in 2011 when I'm like, hey man, if I can change my life, I promise I'll live every single day trying to drop jewels that would help people improve the quality of their life experience. And that's how you and I met.
Hmm. Literally
Because
how we met. I
literally how we met.
manifested you as my friend.
There you go. I manifested you. I'm like, I'm gonna put this out in the ecosystem to see if anyone gravitates with this message because I feel strongly about it. And then here we are years later.
So crazy.
Isn't
I
that
mean,
wild?
years later, I mean, I'm thinking I probably was listening to your podcast. It's what, 2022 now? Probably a good 8 years ago.
Wow, that's
If not long,
crazy.
I mean, 8 or 9 years ago, right? So that would have been like 2014 ish for
Yeah,
sure. 2014, I think,
yeah,
was around when I started listening. And then maybe after about a year of listening, I literally had this thought in my head. I was like, God, I just fucking rock with the way this guy says things and how he believes things. Like, that would be so cool. Like, that would be so cool. Like, I just want to be friends with this guy.
yeah.
And then literally, here we are years
Here we
later.
are. Talk damn near every
It's
day.
so crazy to me.
It is wild, but like it was through it at that time in my life. I want to kind of take you back to that time in my life. So like when I first started that podcast, first and foremost, I just had my spiritual awakening. I recently started meditating, had this out of body experience, and my life changed right before my eyes. And I'm like, I need to document this stuff because my kids were really, really little. So I'm like, I need to document this for them.
Mm,
And then also for myself so that I don't forget the things that I'm learning. And I just started recording it. I didn't have much of anything. I didn't have, I was using a laptop that I got from my mother that could barely like the flap of it was like barely holding its head up. And I had to like prop it up against like a stack of books and not budge it at all because if I budged it, the whole computer would shut down while I was podcasting and I would have to republish that or re-record it and publish it. And what I learned is that very, very after practicing what I'm now deeming as magic, after practicing magic and manifesting, um, my life like physically things started to like come into fruition. And so anyway, long story short, I went from being around a lot of people to like feeling very isolated. I didn't want to talk to the same people that I was always talking to because the conversations wasn't something I wanted to entertain. So when I started podcasting, it was literally with the intentions of documenting what I was learning and attracting people who resonated with the message so that I would know that I'm not alone in my way of thinking. And voila, here we are. And I feel like I made a choice to like if I become friends with anybody, my number one thing is to be someone that constantly adds value to their life and like mirror
Mm,
back to them what's possible for them.
mm,
Like never let them stoop down to a low level, like always bigging you up, like for sure. And everyone that wasn't holding that type of space for me started to move out of my life for good. And over the years, I've just been collecting people that understands that I'm only here to like mirror back to you like how much of a badass you are. And you know, you're definitely my top favorite friend in the universe. Bestie, I was about to say bestie molesty, but that doesn't sound right. Uh but yeah, for sure, it's like developed. It's developing into this powerful connection, and
yeah.
it kind of plays into what we're talking about being definiteness of purpose. Like I wasn't
Boom.
willing to settle for the same people that I was always associating with. I'm like, I'm gonna meet some new
Same.
people, and I'm gonna meet people that appreciate me.
Mm-hmm.
That became my definite purpose, and I want people that
Same.
I want people that play with magic and like not from a like witchcraft perspective, but like we have these brains that we do nothing with, but consume stuff that mainstream society tells us to consume when there's other ways we can use our brains and our minds. So I want people that's willing to explore those levels of consciousness with me. And I attracted Ben also, who I'm still friends with, Ben
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin Franklin Williams. His name is literally Benjamin
Benjamin.
Franklin. Yeah,
Seriously? Oh, I
absolutely.
fucking love that.
That's
Well,
my
I just want to say I'm so grateful for you. You literally, I got a little bit emotional thinking about that because you're so right. Like I kind of did the same thing, and like not only did I kind of almost funnily say to myself, "Man, I want to be like best friends with this guy," like, and like here we are. And I was just kind of having this full realization moment, one of how powerful we are, but two, like it's so true that definiteness of purpose. Like, I'm not going to accept people into my life that
yeah,
are X, Y, and Z.
for
I
sure.
accept this instead. And I think, for anyone listening, that can be a difficult thing to do. It's not always easy to let go
Mm-mm.
or allow the people in your life that are not filling those roles for you.
Yeah,
Um, it's not always easy to let them go. And I think we both still have people come in and out of our lives that we're like,
yeah,
man, like, that kind of sucks when you realize that they're maybe not gonna be in your life forever.
yeah. You want them
Um,
to.
yeah, you want them to be, but that's why I'm so fucking grateful for you and the connection and deep friendship that we have because like you are one of the few people in my life that I can literally like say with confidence that I know like we'll always be friends. No matter what happens in our
Exactly.
life, no matter what goes
100%.
on, like we'll always be that for each other. And I think that's
100%.
what's like I'm just really grateful for that. So,
Yeah, you know when you know, like when you know it. Some people you have that little doubt in the back of your mind, like oh, like
mhm.
maybe if I didn't play this role, like maybe we wouldn't even be friends. But with you, I feel like no matter what I'm doing, we're gonna always be cool. We're gonna always be friends. We're gonna always rock with each other and support each other. And that's what it's about because I think it's all based off of how like you start the relationship. Like any
Yeah.
relationship you're in, like if you go, there are people that you met when you were at a lower level that won't be with you when you climb to a higher level. And that's because sometimes that person that was with you at that lower level kind of saw you as they were your superior, someone
Mhm.
you could look up to. And so that was their role that they played in your life. And then when you level up, the dynamics of that role changes a little bit and they don't really know how to, gel with you. And so with us, I just feel like no matter what level we are at life, we're just going to always rock with each other because we came into this friendship understanding that we're here to add value to each other's lives.
Yes.
That's it. And
Yep.
anybody out there listening, I highly encourage you to analyze the people that you have around you right now and ask yourself right now, does this person I'm associated with want to see me at my absolute best, even if it means I'm at a higher level than they are? Because you'll find that the average person won't. The average person is comfortable with you being where you are, but nowhere near above them. And when I say above, I don't mean like you're better than them. I mean just doing better in life than them, or doing better in life than you currently are right now. If you're questioning if someone is really for you, then 9 times out of 10, they're probably not for you.
No matter how much you want to believe that they are.
You exactly. That was like I found myself today wanting to text somebody from the past and like um just text something inspirational and like, yo, I'm doing all this shit now. I got all this shit
Hmm.
going on. I got all this stuff going on that's amazing. And I want you to become and be a part of this, what I got going on. And I stopped myself
Mm.
because I'm like, why do I consciously why would I consciously reach out to somebody that doesn't reach out to me?
Yep.
Obviously, I'm not of importance in their life. And so why should I reach out to them when I've made multiple attempts to do that? And so that's how you have to keep it, like just being on purpose. My wife is like that too. Like she's had eye openers too, people that she thought was her friends. I mean, maybe they are still her friends. I don't want to speak on her, but like when you're at a different space in your life, you see who you ever notice this? If shit hits the fan, usually people will label a real friend as someone who's there for you when shit hits the fan.
Hmm.
But that's not a real friend to me. A real friend to me is also someone who's going to be there for me when I build the fan, when everything is popping for me, and they're going to be there with me celebrating and being happy
God,
with me too. It's
that's so fucking true.
yeah,
That's
it's like
so fucking true.
if you only my friend when I'm down and out, it just means that
Mm.
you love seeing me down and out, so you can come in and try to
Pick
rescue
up the
me.
piece. Yep,
Exactly.
exactly.
And it's like I want
Dang.
people that's like rooting for me. Like
Yep.
I know how to be at the bottom by myself. I already been there. I need a sustainable foundation of dope ass friends that are gonna support me when I'm balling out of control and that are going
Boom. That you want to call, right? I think that should be like
exactly.
rule of thumb. If something fucking amazing happens in your life and there's anyone in your life that you feel like you don't want to call and tell them about it, that's not your real friend.
That's not your real friend. Oh my
Because if
god.
they're going to bring you down at all or they're going
Yeah.
to like they have no interest in it, like no.
Right? Like
It's not,
people
they
can
might not even realize that they do it, right? But it's not, when you're like, oh, I don't want to tell so and so this really good
man.
thing
Uh,
because they're not going to be happy for me or they're going to just poo poo it or whatever. Like,
dude,
who you're fucking excited to call. I do not have very many
exactly.
people on that list.
Same.
I mean,
Same.
it's like one hand, maybe
Yeah.
less than one hand,
Maybe
literally.
less than one hand for me.
Literally.
That I'm like, this dope
And
thing
one
just
of them
happened.
is my significant other, and one
Yeah.
of them is you.
Yeah.
Like,
Same.
that's
Same here. Same
most of my
here.
list.
I'll call you, I'll call Leanna.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I mean, I don't know who, I mean, and no offense to anybody that knows me and is like, damn, you don't feel that way about me. But my thing is like, there's a different type of energy what I'm talking about. Like you might not
Yeah.
even mean anything by it by not getting excited about the thing that I'm excited about. But I need to call someone and I can call Ben. Ben is another one I
Mm-hmm.
can call.
I
I
have a
can be
few other people I can call, but I mean, it's a very small
very,
number.
very,
Very
very
small
small.
number.
I can be like, yo, bro, guess what just happened? And bro being gonna be like, boy, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like he
Yes.
literally called me a wizard on the phone the other day. I was on speakerphone.
Yes.
And my wife was like, she was like, Ben was like, I'm starting to think Robbie is a wizard, and my wife was like, I think he is. Like I'm really thinking that he is. Like this dude is he's manifesting anything he wants. But like that's important because we always are told in life, and I always thought something was wrong with me for thinking this way, but I'm like, I used to think that my friends were the people that were with me when I was at the bottom. But
Same.
it's not. It needs to be both. It needs to be my friends are people that are with me. If they're with me at the bottom and we're comfortable there, it means they're keeping me at the bottom.
Yep.
They're enabling me from climbing out of the bottom. But
Yep.
if they are with me at the bottom and they're always trying to get me to go to the top, those are my real friends. And those are the people that are going to root for me when I'm winning. And that's what you want. People need support. And I think that's what not to talk about the mastermind, but I think that's what the mastermind is for us. Like,
Oh my God, it is. And it's so amazing that there's you and I have been that for each other for quite a few years, right? But
yep,
like to have this group of people that you have brought together that we don't know each other from Adam. And that's where I feel like it's like we almost have this little family because it really is so genuine. The way we interact with each other, the
yeah,
way that we're pumping each other up, the way that we're trying to make each other better or step in when like somebody's like, hey, this is going on in my life, and everybody comes in and is like, try this, let's talk about this. Like it's so genuine and it's so powerful.
yeah.
I literally look forward to our meeting every single week. Like, and
Me
I am not the
too.
person that looks forward to meting with people,
Me
especially
either.
on a consistent basis. Like
Same.
I'm actually quite the opposite of that. So
I I am too, because like when we first entertained this mastermind idea, I'm like, am I really gonna be committed to meeting with people every week? Like this is but I
yeah.
genuinely get excited on Thursdays. I wake up, I'm like, all right, it's
Yes.
mastermind tonight.
I
This is gonna
literally
be
will be like,
amazing.
Mike, it's mastermind night. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Like legitimately
I
I
tell
do
my
that. And when
boys,
I
I'm like,
can't be there, I literally am like, I'm sad, not because I feel like
yeah,
I'm missing out like that way, but I'm like, I want to like be able to see and connect and talk with my people.
yeah.
It's
It's
such
so
an
dope.
awesome fucking group.
It really is. And
It
like nobody
really is.
like people come and go as they choose. Like it's
Yeah.
just Joe Ingram, I mean, dude, that man right there
I
is an
love Joe.
awesome individual, man. Just
Yes,
like
I love him.
I was
I don't
bragging
know him
about
hardly
him.
at all. I literally like him as a human.
Yes,
He's
I vote
amazing.
Nick. Like Nick's
Mhm.
personality is like he's so funny.
I
He's
know.
so funny. He's like I gotcha. I gotcha. I got watch this. I love Mark. Just so
Yes.
many
Mike, I
Jorge,
love Mike has been
Mike.
like amazing. I
Yes.
have watched him blossom and it
Yes.
literally like makes my heart so happy.
Yes.
Legitimately, I'm just like, oh,
Me too.
Jorge. Like I missed Jorge last night. I was
Jorge.
like, where's Jorge? I miss
Yeah,
him.
Miss Jorge
You know,
and
I
Margaret
love it.
Ann and
Yeah.
Margaret Ann is just blossoming and like it's just so
Hmm.
cool to see everybody. I think that's what it is. Like too that everyone the thing that we yearned for before we connected with each other is the thing that a lot of other people are yearning for too. Like they just want somewhere they can let their
Yes.
hair down and like be transparent and like be themselves and just
Mm.
be around people that wants to see you do good in life.
Yep.
That is priceless. And I
That's
never
what that
really had
is
that.
for a no, same. And to have this, I mean, and I know it's not a crazy large group, but to have that many people that like when I literally just said my actual friends, like that I think of as like people that I know, like
Yeah.
mastermind group, I don't necessarily know these people on a personal level, right? But I still actually feel like I could call them about good news,
Yeah.
right? Over.
Same. You
So I
can.
mean, outside of my one hand of people, like this group is
You,
that for me.
it is. You can call, and for anybody in the mastermind that's listening, like we do believe we could call you about our good news. That's the good
Yeah,
part. That's the great part about,
it's
having a mastermind like
amazing.
this.
And I
You-
think to tie it back to Napoleon Hill, right? To me, when he talks about mastermind mind groups and what that should be like, I feel like that's the like you have created that in real life and it's powerful and I'm so grateful for like
well,
yeah.
it started with you and I. I think we have nurtured a we've planted seeds in our garden for so many years
Mhm.
that it started to sprout, and everybody that's a part of the mastermind is like the results of the seeds that you and I have planted over the years.
Oh, wow.
That's what that is. It's like
Yeah.
it started with one little bud and it just sprouted out, and now it's like it's growing, and people,
Mm.
and so that I think, we don't ever have to worry about it not being that.
No.
You know what I mean? And I think the price point, the way it's priced is priced just good enough to attract people that appreciate it
Mhm.
without without breaking the bank, without it's fine tuned, but I really believe it's a manifestation of what, for instance, like we both had a desire that, think about what happened. Okay. So like years ago, you and I both had this desire to like connect. Our frequencies went out into the universe, and I downloaded inspiration that caused me to put out a podcast. And because your frequency was radiating at the signal that I was broadcasting on, it attracted you as a listener. And because you started listening to the podcast, I picked up on that frequency unconsciously and was inspired to share my phone number on a random episode. Isn't that, I
And
still
then I
remember,
was crazy enough to be like, I'm going to text this guy and be like, hey, I want to be your friend.
that's
That's
just,
not weird, right?
that's
It's
not weird
totally
at
cool.
all. That's it. Like that's that's what's happened. And then we've taught so much. And
Mm-hmm.
then voila, it's like, okay, maybe we can let others in to our thing that we have going. And we just attracted
So
some of the
true.
most amazing people.
Yeah. Our group is
Terrence,
just, it's phenomenal. Loa,
Loa, yeah.
like the group that we have is just amazing. I hope we didn't forget to mention really anyone.
We got Terrell,
Oh,
Terrell's been knowing me
yeah.
since high school. So
Yeah, Terrell's
Terrell,
been awesome. Lynn joined. I mean,
Lynn,
we just have a really
yeah.
great group. It's a powerful group.
It's
And I
always that.
think mm,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish that
no.
thought.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say it's always interesting when we go to calling names. You're like, now that I've started calling names, I don't want to forget a
Yeah,
name
I
that
don't
I
want to
do.
forget anybody. If we didn't mention you, we love you.
We love you,
You're
absolutely.
you're our
This is
mindset family, our
this is
mastermind family.
unscripted. It's just coming
Yeah.
off the top of our dome right now. But it's just so cool to connect with these guys and wish them well on their journey, and just it, it's different because you can't get inside of groups. I feel that the power dynamic is so strong from the guy that's running the thing
From the top,
that
yeah.
it's like I don't want to be your
And I don't
son,
think that's like a fault even necessarily.
No.
Like I think that that's the way that groups used to be formed. Like
Yeah.
that's literally and I think that's how before we were raised and programmed to feel that groups had to be constructed as you had this one person and I mean, I don't want to get religious here, but like even just thinking about the story of Jesus or
Mm-hmm.
even Buddha or
Yeah.
whatever,
There was
like
this
it's
one
always
guy.
this one person and that
Yeah.
has all of these followers. And I
Yep.
think what is changing in our society is completely getting away from that and getting more into these community settings, these
Yes.
community where it's more like this round table discussion.
That's what it's about.
Again, that's another thing that Napoleon Hill mentions in this book about the change in schools is that classrooms should go away and it should be a round table like setting where everyone can share ideas.
Yes. That's
I
it.
think that's what our society is craving
It
and what we're
is.
transferring to. So, like, those other groups, it's not that they're bad or wrong. That's just how we were taught that it was supposed to be done. And so, the people that had a loud voice and had the desire and took the action were the top of those groups. And they're like, this is
Yeah.
what I'm supposed to be doing. But we're craving something so much different now as humans and as things evolve spiritually and consciously and with the planet
Mm-hmm.
as a whole. Like we want to be in a group. We are looking more at this group thinking and coming more from like that heart-centered place. And
Yeah.
I think that's what you've created with our mastermind group. And I think that's why
Plural.
it
That's what
makes
we've
it
created. That's what
that's
we've
what
created.
we've created with the
Yeah.
mastermind group. And I think that that's one of the reasons why it's so powerful. And I think that's why you're going to see a lot more things going to communities now over just me following this one person. So,
Yeah. Like where always, you ready for this quote that I coined in my brain
mhm.
many years ago? A To me, a true leader is not someone that says, "Come follow me." A true leader is someone who is always trying to encourage you to follow your heart,
Boom.
to follow
Trust your
you
intuition. It's
exactly.
that's yes, 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 yes,
I don't
yes.
I don't want the
It's not me, it's
responsibility of
you.
exactly. I
I
don't want
want
the
to empower.
responsibility of
No,
you
we're
following
here to
me.
empower.
Yeah,
Because we've taken the time to empower ourselves, now our greatest gift that we can give to anyone is teaching them how to empower themselves as
absolutely.
well. And that's how,
100%.
as a collective, we become this heart centered, powerful group of people. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. I
And
think that's a good place
yeah,
to end because I know you
I
have
think
to go and I have to prep for an appointment,
I
but
do have to go. It's time
I
for
just noticed the
Valentine's.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, 12:09. I'm truly grateful for this connection again and look
Ditto.
forward to next week where we're diving deeper into this. Kate, where can everybody find you at?
So everybody can find me. If you want to know a little bit more about me, you can check out my website, fengshui-kate.com. If you want to connect with me on social, I am probably the most active on TikTok, fengshui.kate, and my Instagram handle is the same. I am on there as well. And then you can check out my podcast, which again is just called Feng Shui Kate. I kept it really
And is
simple
that
for everybody.
fengshuikate.org?
No, that will feng shui-kate.com is my website. The .org is like for teachable stuff, which I've actually changed because I'm creating a community instead.
Yeah, it's all
So,
about the
and my
community.
plan is that I'm going to launch that at the beginning of July. So, I'm pretty excited. We're going to
And
get
they
the
can find you on
community launched. Yep.
TikTok.
Yep, TikTok, fengshui.kate. That's where I'm the most active. You can connect with me there until the community started, and then we'll get everybody pushed towards the community. I think I'm so freaking excited about it. And the
Yes.
interactions I've had on TikTok over some things the last like week or so just gave me that confirmation of the community is so needed and so like where everything's headed because that's what people like. I've got people like helping other people and giving advice and I love it. It makes me so happy. So that's where you can find me.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm so happy to
Tell
see
people where
everything.
they can find you too, because I'm sharing this on my podcast as well.
So
So,
the number one place to connect with me at is webassetgroup.com.
hmm
Webassetgroup.com. That's our community. I'm responsive there. You can go to robbiecornelius.com, but let's be honest, it's just a landing page. It's
yeah.
where you want to connect with me and grow with me, webassetgroup.com. So thank you, Kate, for everything. And you continue to be a powerful day.
Ditto. I'll talk to you.